Well, kids, welcome to another episode of Rimshots with Sean, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk. And I'm in overcast Halifax, Nova Scotia, but I got a young lady here who is in the wonderful city of Austin, Texas. We have a lot of our favorite folks from there. Miss Skye Dahl, how are you?
Very good. Thanks for having me. I'm a little
Well, thanks
nervous.
for
My
doing
first
this.
interview. Yeah.
It's your first interview?
Yeah.
Well, then I can ask
I
any stupid old question I want, and I'll get away with it. That's awesome.
for sure. I mean, apart from my own interviews to myself when I was like a little kid, just being an
Sure.
idiot. This is the first one. Yeah.
I've always said that I never want to be like Chris Farley in that Saturday Night Live episode when he's talking to Paul McCartney. Have you ever seen that
Yeah.
skit? Yeah.
Uh no, not that one. I love him and everything else though, but it's
So
not ringing a bell with Paul
Go
McCartney.
Google that one when we're done, and you'll get what I mean. Because I've seen
Okay.
so many people that are quote unquote, A-level interviewers that ask such fanboy questions, and I really try to not do that. So here we go. We're going to give it a try. So tell us
Sweet.
about Skye Dahl. You were telling me off camera that you now reside in Austin. You're originally
Mhm.
from Washington State, but tell me about your operation.
Sure. So Skye Dahl is the name of the band, I guess. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I want to say about over 15 years as far as like writing my own stuff and performing my own stuff. And the band did their thing in Utah and then I moved so that there's, bigger opportunities. But we played a lot of really cool gigs over the years. Like I would say we're mostly rock and blues focused. Right now it's kind of moving into more of like a poppy space, which is totally fine because I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. So like it's fun that things just keep changing and evolving, and it's nice to just kind of let it do its thing and see where it goes. But we have, we played Sundance, we've played at the Complex opening for Theory of a Dead Man. We have played at the Hard Rock Cafe in Seattle, which was really cool for me because I got to go back home and do that. Um, and then now we're here, and I just put a group of guys together. They're really great, and we've played 3 shows so far, so they're doing really well. And that's pretty much a little bit about the group.
That's fantastic. And I tell you what, in your response, there's that game. I always talk about networking, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. I don't know if you've ever heard that, where basically you
Yeah.
take any actor and you can trace them back to Kevin Bacon, which is hilarious. But you just did that, and I'll tell you why. Because you mentioned Theory of a Dead Man, and I
Hmm.
work with an artist up here by the name of Michelle Ryder, and her writing partner is a gentleman by the name of Mark Horton, who used to road manage Theory of a Dead Man. So,
Wow.
a bit of
Small
trivia there.
world.
It is, and you mentioned Seattle.
Uh-huh.
And Seattle, Halifax, where I currently am, was at one time considered Seattle light because they came out this way to sign all kinds of grunge bands. So, boom, we're having some fun here and we're making some connections. So that's fantastic. So you said the
Yes.
third show. Um, how did they go? How did they work out for you? Was the reaction good?
For our the show we just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it went really well. It was like a last minute thing. They're like, "Hey, do you guys want to be on the bill?" And we're like, absolutely." And it was kind of in the middle of the week, but we were ready. We had a great time and people had a blast because we definitely bring the energy and the stage presence, and it's more of a performance. We're not just like a bar band, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not the way we're going. And so it's definitely more dramatic and high energy and like the old classic glam bands, I would say, where you have that flamboyant front woman in my case.
Yep.
And that's the vibe when you come to a Skye Doll show.
Well, and I love that because you showed up here. You're wearing, I mean, that jacket is lights out. Um, you
Thank you.
know, uh, I don't even know if I'm wearing a clean T-shirt to be honest. But I mean, I am that guy. I mean, I play in a band, and I like to wear the Worn Star jeans and the Worn Star shirts, and I like to
Yeah,
do, because I'm a drummer. I play a lot, and
amazing.
nothing is more annoying to me is than when you see a band and just whatever they drove to the gig in is what they play in.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like I think if your shtick is like a little more chill, I think there's a way to elevate it so it's respectful and performance level. I think if you just want to be more relaxed, I think you can do it in a really sleek, cool way without looking like you slept in it. So like
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
the same way. Like I'm the same way. I feel the same way about that. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a running joke in my part because I mean, a number of clubs that we played. they're the throwback. So they have all the old, not LED lighting, but the old, Par 64s and whatnot. So it's really hot. So I started using the fan, the
Yeah.
hair blows back and all that stuff. And everybody's like, oh, fanboy. It's like, no, no. It's like, and then after 2 years, other people start doing it. So it's like, was it a dumb idea? I don't know.
Right.
But where I'm going with that is, to do things like that, to dress a different way, to apply the glam thing. If you're in a scene that maybe doesn't have it, it takes a little bit of sticking your neck out because you're going to get chirped a little bit.
Yeah.
Starting to see some people maybe copy you in what you're doing.
Not yet. I mean, I did through my guitar player because he has other projects and stuff. I did hear from him because there's mixers that happen all around Austin, which is really cool. Like you can go and just play with whoever, and like it's a really great way to network. And so there's
Great
multiple
idea.
different ones. Yeah. And there's multiple different ones. And he said that my song Doormat, which was the newest song, but now Hypocrite is on their bill of songs that they can play if they want. And I was like, you're kidding me. And so like I things are starting to kind of go that way, which is really surreal but really cool. But as far as people looking like me, I haven't seen it yet, but I would love to. Like the bigger the hair, the better. I'm here for it.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will because it's not that people run out of ideas, but they look at something that at first they might want to laugh at, but then resonates with people, and so they try to copy it. But
Yeah.
the one part that is really, really hard is the vibe, right?
Hmm.
You may be wearing the same clothes and doing your hair the same way, but there's a heart and soul piece that if you don't have it, you're not gonna get it.
Yep. I agree with that. I agree
So
with that.
tell us about your tune. So you mentioned there's I'll say a pop sensibility. So you guys went in I guess a different direction, which I think is great because there really seems to be a void now for that good pop tunes. Like you either have cheesy contrived pop or you have like whatever. You don't have some of the old school stuff that was in the 80s and maybe 90s. Talk to me a little bit about
Yeah.
you guys shifting gears, I guess, and going in that direction.
Sure. So I mean it wasn't it's interesting how things happen, and I've learned over the years that you got to get out of the way of it, because the music's going to tell you what it wants to be and what it's meant to be, and the more you force it or get in the way, like it's just trash. I've learned that the
Yeah.
hard way. And so it was interesting when things started shifting that way, because it wasn't, again, like I said, the main focus. It just kind of is what's coming out. And I think it's just more of going back to my roots, I think was the driving factor, because I've always been Michael Jackson's like my number one hero since I was tiny, and so was Prince. And so I feel like the more I was getting back to myself and like my roots and doing that, that's
Yeah.
what was like coming out. And that's what started birthing some of the songs that are on the album. Hypocrite's unique, like the newest song that dropped, because it is to my roots, but it's more cultural to my background, my Scandinavian heritage. And so it
Very
was
cool.
fun that that one's kind of like a stick out, but it was meant to be a standout in the midst of like the album. It's kind of like
Yeah.
the comedy relief in a scary movie, where like you're getting hit hard with all this stuff, and then you have the comedy relief. That's kind of the idea behind Hypocrite. Is it would be like this cultural, tribal, but rock and roll queen kind of vibe in the midst of like the Michael Jackson glam rock stuff. So,
Well, and I love that because I mean I'm a Kiss fan. I'm a Motley Crue fan. I mean
yeah,
I was on a show last night, and I have people that say, "Well, your focus is so narrow." Well, I'm unapologetically narrow in terms of my taste. Um,
yeah.
that doesn't mean I'm right. It just means that's what I like.
You like what you
Um,
like.
I
Yeah.
like what I like, and
Yeah.
it doesn't mean if you bring something up. Like I like Michael Jackson. A lot of people will go, "Really?" I do. I mean, especially that old
Yeah.
Jackson 5 stuff and whatnot is great. Um,
Yeah.
Bring me to a jazz club. I can tell you a funny story about that we don't need to repeat right now, but I can appreciate all types of music. Um,
Yeah.
One of the things that I like that you're saying is you're infusing, because again, when people say glam, unfortunately they think glitz, glamour, and I think Bowie, I think Slade, I think Kiss, I think Motley Crue, I think,
Yeah.
it's a show. It's almost like a vaudeville
Yeah.
circus sort of thing, right? Like you're not just
Yeah.
going up and standing in one spot and tapping your foot. It's a presentation as much as the music.
Yes. Yeah. And that's very important to me. I think it's always been important to me because I grew up, I have a dance background and theater background, and like you can't run away from who you are and your influences and your foundation. And so it is who I am. It's the performer that I am. And either people dig it or they don't, but it's okay because I'm still going to be doing me. So,
I mean, and that's a great attitude because I remember like one of the bands that I played in the very first show, we had a sellout crowd, and it was just shortly after everything opened back up again because of we know what happened that we don't like to talk about. And a friend of mine came up and said, Sean, there's 12 drummers in the room, and all I could think of was, well, I get their money; they can leave anytime they want. I really didn't care because I had gone so long with practicing and not playing in front of people that it was like I didn't care. And then I had another guy that was like, yeah, I came to watch you basically, tank. It's like, well, sorry, but that's not going to happen. Do you get as a female performer, and I love to ask female performers this,
okay.
are okay, your female audience members, are they supportive of you? And are fellow female artists supportive of you? Because I find sometimes that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. I can't speak for everybody, honestly. I mean, my personal experience, it's a mixed bag. I would say it's like 50-50. I think if somebody maybe feels a little threatened, like that's something they need to look inward to like figure out why.
Yeah.
Because music, I mean, art is subjective and people are going to react the way that they're going to react. And I think it's a good opportunity for them to like kind of check themselves as to why it's hitting them that way. And whether that's me being a female doing what I love and I'm very loud and proud about it. And if that sets them off in some way, I always found that a little interesting. But I just think it's maybe they don't feel like they have the same opportunities, or like maybe they're feeling down about like their skills, or like maybe they wish they could have more, this or that. So like I don't get too upset at that. I would just urge them. I've had conversations with them where I'm just like, I you just got to work. Like you just got to get to work and get it done, and find who you are. Like I love helping women, especially like find their stage presence. I've been a coach for a couple groups out here, which was a great compliment. And so like that's been powerful because a female asked me, and she's a front woman in a band, and asked me to coach her. So like it was positive in that space. And then I've had lots of other ladies uh be cheering and filming us and say they were inspired because, I'm older. I'm not in my 20s anymore. So like they feel inspired. So it's interesting to see. It's a mixed bag, but I just really think it's because everybody has their own stuff going on. And I think it triggers different things. And I do just think women need to stop picking on each other. And I think we need to just uplift one another just in general, whether you're a female or a guy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I know Michelle that I work with, she talks about how, and I'd love to get your opinion on this. It came out of, there was a clip of Pink about 2, 3 weeks ago, and the interviewer asked, what do you think of Madonna's new face? And she's like, you're asking me to
Yeah.
see that?
Yeah, I saw that, and it was so, and how embarrassing. Like, you have somebody like Pink who is phenomenal and like has been doing this forever, like since her little hip hop days. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I was into her from day one, and like you have her sitting in front of you, and that's a question that you ask. You want her to like talk smack about another icon in the industry. Like it's so ridiculous. Like I was with her on her response because she's there to talk about her stuff, not bash another female who
Right.
is a legend in her own respect. And what people do with their face or their body, like that is their business. Like who cares? Like if it makes them happy, it's that's all that matters. It's none of my business.
Well,
So
amen. And I mean, the thing about Pink, I mean, Pink can beat the face right off you. I mean, she's a tough broad, right? Which, I mean, that's the thing that I like about her. But Michelle's always talked about how women have to work that much harder than guys, and I was kind of like,
yeah.
but then I go out and I start to see some shows, and it's like there's a dude up here. Like I saw 2 or 3 weeks ago, he was wearing socks and sandals at a gig, and I'm like, wow, way to tell your audience you give two craps about what you're doing. It was just very off-putting to me. Um,
Uh-huh.
If a woman had done that, I think that, there would have been some sort, and nobody said a word. It was just very weird. Do you feel women have to work that much harder than men?
Oh yeah, I definitely know we do. Yeah. It's it is irritating, and what's irritating is it's in any space because I came from the corporate world and experienced that, even though I was running circles in the sales team around all the rest of the guys that had tenure. Um, and like it's interesting, but the comments that I would hear back from men is like, well, that's how it is. Well, that's how it is. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know what, but it doesn't have to be how it is, because talent is talent, no matter the gender. And it should have equal opportunity and equal, uh what's the word, like acceptance, or like, obviously you have to
Yeah.
earn your audience. I don't think you're gifted a group of people that are into you. Like, I love earning my audience, but I don't think that, just because you're a guy and you have abs that you get like 20 million people, and then you're a woman. It's just like, what does a woman know about music? What does a woman know about entertainment? Like, it's just wild. It's wild.
It is. And I mean, I hear you there because I'm a guy that used to have abs. I don't really care anymore, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, not one of those things that, you know, it's different sorts of things, but, I find, you know, best person for the role, whether it be a guy, a girl, black, white, yellow, green, whatever. And I think
Yeah.
what you're seeing now is when they're having these rules. Like I'll give you an example. Like football, when they go to interview a coach in the NFL, they have this Rooney rule where they have to interview so many black coaches. Well, that's because they fell down for so many years, overlooking talent, and people complain about it. But it's like, if you guys had done the right thing 50 years ago, you wouldn't be
Yeah.
complaining about this thing, because it wouldn't be a thing. And I think that that's really, it takes a while to write some of this stuff and fix it. But
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Correct person for the role.
Yeah. That's all we want. Like, we don't need special treatment either. Like,
That's all anybody wants.
just,
Because back to the abs
yeah,
thing. I mean, I can stand next to some dude with abs. I can guarantee you, I'm going to win that battle every time, just by the swagger that I bring into the room, right?
just
So
your
it's just
your
yeah,
charisma.
that's
You
right.
got it.
Well, I don't take myself too seriously, right? I mean, it's just one of those things where, this podcast was a mistake. It was I was playing and I couldn't play anymore, so I decided to interview some musician friends and had some fun with it. And
Cool.
next thing you know, 4 and some odd years later, and we're having a good go. But I mean, I give true journalists
Yeah.
fits because where did you study for journalism? I didn't.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I'm not that traditional guy. I'm kind of like that musician that musicians don't like, where yeah, you're good, you should start a band. You know what I mean? And no
Yeah.
formal. So, but I'm hogging the airspace here. Okay, so Skye, yeah, I should be taking my ADD meds here because I'm a little all over the map today, but that's fine.
It's
Um,
okay. It's all
Tell
right.
us, if I was to say to my viewers, okay, what's Guy's band like? And I'm like, oh, let me ask her. Give us your, I guess, nickel tour on what they could expect in terms of influences, sound, that type of thing.
Ooh, okay. I would say this is the statement that I like to say lately is, I said it a little earlier, is it's glam rock, like all the glam hair bands from the 80s with Michael Jackson sprinkled on top is what you could expect. And influences are Michael Jackson, Prince, Queen, Sebastian Bach, formerly from Skid Row. I love that man. Uh, so like those are influences, and you just have a good time. It's all about inclusivity, and if you want to bring out your leather and studs and spikes and do your hair and wear that outfit that you're afraid to wear, like, you come and wear it, and we accept it and love it, and it's dope. So high energy, you're going to have a great time. We want you to forget about the day to day, and that's what being an entertainer is all about, in my opinion. So that's what you can expect from us.
It's like you and I rehearsed this beforehand because you keep bringing in touch points, and I have a Sebastian Bach story for you. Um,
Yes.
I was playing in a band. This would have been New Year's Eve, 1993, Toronto. We were playing in Toronto, and I tell the story a lot. So anybody that's watching this will go, "Oh, here he goes with the story again," but you haven't heard it. So,
I haven't heard it.
um, and
Yeah.
so we were the second band in a three-band bill. The first band was just We went on, and I'm going to tell you right now, we were kind of like a Skid Rowish type band. We freaking kicked the crap out of the room. And I'm walking off the stage and I hear, yo, dude, you fucking suck. And I look over to Sebastian Bach. I kid you not. And
No.
the funny thing was, is he's from Peterborough, which is about an hour and a bit from Toronto.
Yeah.
And I get to know his sister really well because she was still living there, and I get to know his dad really well. But never met Sebastian, but he's been in my neck of the woods because he guest starred on a show called The Trailer Park Boys a couple times, which
Yeah.
is shot here. So there you go. There's my Sebastian Bach story.
Oh,
And you know
dang
what?
it.
Oh no, you know what? Hey, everybody knows what the I have no problem with Sebastian whatsoever because he um there's tons of stories of his upbringing and how he came up. And
Yeah,
he did it his way. So there you go. Last
very
question for
true.
you, young lady. Where are my viewers gonna find out about you, your band? How they gonna get more information?
Sure, love it. So you can follow us at Skye Dahl Official on Instagram. Facebook, it's just Skye Dahl. YouTube, it's just Skye Dahl. You can hear our new song Hypocrite, which just dropped on Monday. So on all streaming platforms. So if you go to Spotify too, it's Skye Dahl. And then you can watch the music video, which I'm very, very, very proud of. And yeah, follow us. And we have a link tree you can also subscribe to. So if you look at the link in the bio on any of those pages, subscribe to our link tree because I post all of our upcoming gigs and stuff on there. Yeah.
It really life doesn't have to be hard, and you make it pretty easy with all that stuff. So I want to thank you for doing this because
Yeah.
one of the perks that I have when I do this little old podcast, especially when I'm dealing with folks like Raquel, is that I get to meet people that I would never otherwise never have met before. So that's very cool, and I look forward
Yeah.
to staying in touch and look forward to seeing what's up with you guys throughout the summer.
Yes, I really appreciate the opportunity. This has been a lot of fun. It was so great to meet you. Thanks for making me
You
so
as well.
comfortable.
Peace.
Yay. Bye.